Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. Over the last 1.5 years, we've been fortunate enough that so many people have reached out to us with their comments, suggestions, thoughts on the videos, but also on the other platforms that we have on the Instagram channel, on our blog, etc. And we also ended up discussing with more than 100 people their FIRE plans over Zoom calls, Google Meets, cups of coffee, lunches, dinners. And some of the folks were courageous enough to even fly down to meet us in different parts wherever we were. During these interactions, we got to learn a lot from them. And we also gave a few cents of our knowledge or our experience of this whole financial independence, retiring early. But during these interactions, we also found that there are quite a lot of myths surrounding this financial independence, retire early, this FIRE approach, the reality of which is very different. And in this video, I'm going to address 5 such myths where we find the reality being different from what people think it is. 2 of those myths are related to financial independence, 2 myths are related to early retirement, and 1 myth is overall on this FIRE approach itself. So before I do that, as always, a quick introduction. My name is Yogi, and my wife Seema and I, we both achieved financial independence and decided to retire early, and now enjoying a regular weekday, having a nice cup of coffee in the middle of the day, and then we'll see how the rest of the day goes. Anyways, back to the topic. So the first one that we hear a lot is this myth that financial independence is impossible if you have children. Well, interestingly, Seema and I, we both are probably the odd people out, because most of the people who we know who've achieved financial independence, and quite a few of them who've even taken this bold step of retiring early, have kids, be it school going, college going, university, or even working. One such person who I would like to call out is Ravi Handa. He's got an amazing YouTube channel. Shout out to his channel, and does amazing content. And not everybody is doing YouTube. Lots of people who we know are just enjoying their early retirement life or continuing working, but still being financially independent. As we keep saying, financial independence is a must. Retiring early is just an option. So don't let that demotivate you or deter you. It's all about proper planning. Even in Seema and I, our case, we funded education, or we supported education of our nieces and nephews, and we are even supporting a school of around 200 children in the hometown or a home village where I was born. So it's all about planning and making sure that you allocate your budgets and financials accordingly. And the other is setting the right expectations. I think we all have this right mindset and motive that we want to give our children or the next to kin the best education. But sometimes I think we are going overboard with that we are going out of our way, extremely stretching our budgets to get that education. Because most of the people who I'm interacting with who have probably school-going children, and when I ask them, what's your plan for the college of your children, most of them say, hey, I want to send them to the States or Canada or other countries. Now, again, if you can afford it, fantastic, but don't stretch yourself. And yes, even if you have an ambition to send your children to some expensive colleges abroad, balance out correctly. So for example, a college in US probably will be twice or thrice as much a college costing in Netherlands, Germany, or Sweden for that matter. Or for example, if you plan to have your children do their bachelor's in India and master's outside India somewhere else. So it's all about planning. So that is the first one, the myth that only people without kids do achieve financial independence, whereas the reality being the opposite, that most of the people who are financially independent and have retired early, everybody has kids. The second one is that you need to have a lot of income, and only high income people actually achieve financial independence. And this was the most surprising one for us, because what we realized from all our interactions is the people who are in the high income group, it's the most difficult for them to become financially independent. They have a lot of wealth, they have a lot of money, but are they financially independent? Probably not. And believe me, and this is, I would say, we have been very fortunate that over this channel we've had CEOs, CIOs, senior vice presidents, managing directors, heads of Asia business, heads of India and Africa business, Europe business, reached out to us as part of this almost this 100 odd group. So even this, though it's a small data set, it does give a glimpse of how difficult it is for high earners, it looks like, to achieve financial independence versus, let's say, the middle income group that I'm seeing that are on this path to financial independence better. Now, when we started interacting with the folks and started delving into this, that how is it possible that you all are earning so much that you're nowhere near financial independence versus someone who's in a tier 2, tier 3 city, a freelancer or a government employee seems to be on path to financial independence. Now, we found multiple reasons. So the reason number one is something that we've spoken about in lots of our videos is lifestyle. The lifestyle seems to catch up a lot more with the high earners rather than, let's say, the middle income group or even the lower income group. The second is a very expensive house. Most of the people we've interacted with have heavy mortgages or a very expensive house that they have to maintain and sustain that lifestyle along with that expensive property that they're living in. The third reason that we found is that the people who are in the high income category, they have the more propensity to trade their investments. So they're, buying and selling more. And the net impact of that is less than someone who is just consistently putting his money on a monthly basis, those SIPs, big, boring, and they're seeing that power of compounding. So this is something that I think can clearly show that it is not about the income, it is all about consistency and even financial literacy. Interestingly, there was one banker and a private equity person who connected with us and contacted through the channel. And I was joking with him that, look, you should be giving us financial advice rather than us giving you financial advice because you're on the other side. But he said something which was very right. He says, look, the challenge is that we are so used to by the corporates to help our clients and our customers and the companies rather than think about us. So the financial literacy counts more and consistency counts more than just income. Yes, the more you earn, it becomes easier and faster for you to accelerate the career. And then comes the psychology part also. The most people who I'm seeing in the high earner, high income group are tied to these golden handcuffs. So they have these RSUs, they have these bonuses that's getting vested or matured or accrued over coming years. And it's very difficult for them to break that chain. And that needs a lot of courage. So if I have to sum it up in the second one, the reality is that it doesn't matter how much money you have. It's about your consistency of saving, your discipline, your lifestyle, and your courage to break away from that and say, that's it, I've had enough, rather than those golden handcuffs continue, shackling you to your jobs for longer and longer. So these were two about the journey to financial independence. The third one is about retiring early. And here, the myth is that early retirement means that you retire in your 20s and 30s. A lot of people on the channel also send us a comment. They say, hey, you're already 50. That's not early retirement. Interestingly, there is no benchmark of early retirement. Yes, you can retire in 20s, you can retire in 30s, you can retire in 40s or 50s. But the reality is that most of the people who we've interacted with are in their 40s or early 50s when they've chosen this early retirement. And the basic reason is because it takes time to build wealth. Unless you have some big inheritance, you've won a lottery or you've invested at crypto when it was in pennies and the early dollars, and you made it big, congratulations. Then you can make the big bold step of retiring in 20s and 30s. But most of us who've just been consistent and, like I said in the previous point, just being diligent, disciplined in savings and using the power of compounding, it takes time. So most likely you will be in your early 40s or even mid 40s or even 50s when you take this big bold step. So Seema, she retired in her early 40s and I retired in my late 40s. So this is the third one, just the reality versus the myth. The fourth is this myth that people have that once you retire early, you stop working. And this myth also leads to this fear that, hey, if I retire early, I will be sitting idle, I'll have nothing to do, and that's not what I can live with. The reality is different. You don't work in a corporate job, you end up doing other things in your life. So the nature of work changes, but you still work in some form. What you get is a lot of flexibility. So for example, Seema's case, that she retired in her early 40s. So when she stopped working for the corporate, she had the flexibility to decide what she wanted to do. And so over the years, she set up charity. She went into the details of the education systems and the different pros and cons of education or higher education in Europe versus US versus Asia, because our nieces and nephews at that time were making this big bold step of moving from school to college, so they had to make this decision. She ended up doing a startup. So now, for example, for myself, I spend time doing pro bono, coaching, mentoring people. I spend time just taking care of my health. I spend time making these videos. I spend time interacting with people. And we also bucket time for our family and friends. And then there is a bucket of time that is just for us. So our calendar while we were working was rigid towards the corporate job. So I would not even say 9 to 5, because I don't think I ever worked 9 to 5. It was probably 9 to 9. And now it's just flexible. So don't get worried that you will stop working and you'll be idle. If you have a lot of hobbies, passions, or at least you don't even have, you'll end up realizing what all you have. And as I keep saying in many of the videos, that your sense of purpose also evolves. So don't fall in for that corporate brainwashing that the sense of purpose is only working for a corporate. And once you retire, that you will stop working. So this is, in reality, it's very different from what the myth is. The last myth is on this FIRE approach in general. There is this myth that people say, hey, this entire financial independence, retire early, this is a fad, this is a fashion. It's like one of those diets that come and go, and it will also probably go someday. They're partly right that yes, this is nowadays a lot more talked about than it was probably 10 years back or even 5 years back. And probably during COVID, people did a lot more of that introspection, and that's where this gained a lot of traction. Even Seema and I, we didn't know probably just even 5 years back this whole philosophy called FIRE. But it existed. Like in diets, the fundamentals that, it's about calories in and calories out, doesn't matter the form of the diet. So like there, it's about the money that you save versus money that you spend. And those concepts existed long back. I don't remember probably when I was growing how many times our parents, and I guess same with you, would have said, "Beta, apne paon pe khade ho jao." So this whole thing that you should stand up on your own feet was basically translating that you become financially independent. When it comes to retiring early, keep in mind that in our generation, or at least in Seema and my generation, when we started our career, the retirement age was lower than what it is today. So for example, the first time we went to Europe to start working, the retirement age used to be 63. Then it got moved to 65. Then it got to move to 67. And I would not be surprised that within the next 5 to 7 years, it will probably get moved to 69. So when that goalpost is being changed, people start seeing that, hey, what am I doing? That do I keep changing my goalpost also to keep retiring till that point? So yes, it could be that this whole FIRE as a word has become a buzzword, but if you look behind it, the the sense of saving, the sense of diligent investing, the sense of managing lifestyle has always been there. Retiring early, like we keep saying, is an option. You may decide to work till the end of your life, or even till your late 70s or late 60s. It's about the option that you may or may not exercise. But just keep in mind that the goalpost has been changing. Would you like to keep extending your goalpost the way the goalpost is being changed by the society there? So, anyways, in summary, the 5 myths that you should be careful of not falling for. The first being that you only achieve financial independence if you don't have kids. Incorrect. Reality is very different. The second being that you need to be a high earner to achieve financial independence. This is a surprise to us. Most of the higher earners are the most stuck with their jobs compared to probably the middle earners who are on their path to financial independence. The third being that you generally retiring early means that you retire in your 20s and 30s. In reality, we've not yet met someone in their 20s or 30s who've retired. Most of them have retired in 40s and 50s. The next being that you stop working when you retire. The reality is that the nature of work changes. You still work, you get a lot more flexibility. What do you want to do with your time? And the last being that this FIRE is just a fad and it's just a passing buzzword, maybe. It could be. There may be a new word coming up, but the fundamentals will still remain, and you will still have to save, you will still have to invest, you will still have to manage your lifestyle, and then decide if you do not wish to retire early. So I hope the realities of these myths gives you some confidence, gives you a reality check, and I hope this video was useful. Looking forward to your comments, interacting with you, and as always, rest assured we'll reply every of your question, clarification, or at least try our best to do that. Till the next topic, till the next location, and till the next video. Goodbye from me. Bye-bye.